In 1988, Alan Moore, Brian Ballard, John Higgins, and Dennis O'Neil produced and published the greatest and most well-known Batman graphic novel, The Killing Joke. Since then, it has only cemented itself as a pillar within the Batman mythos because it not only showcases the character of the Batman in his most iconic and classic sense, but it offers to readers the template for the greatest pop culture villain ever created, the Joker. As well, the novel delves into the most convoluted backstory of any comic book character, giving readers and fans a possible origin story for the Clown Prince of Crime. But, as the Joker says himself, if he's gonna have a past, he prefers his to be multiple choice. The novel, as suggested by the title, relies on a similar literary structure as a common joke. There is the premise and the setup, then the build, and then the punchline. It is basically a massive misdirection in order to deliver something unexpected, and within that structure of the joke, there is another underlying joke being told, that of the Joker's possible origin, or at least how he remembers it in the moment. After all, the Joker as a character is an unreliable narrator. We have to always remember that he is insane. Or maybe that's the real punchline of this graphic novel, that he's not really insane. He's just someone who has experienced life's biggest jokes and now sees the freedom in embracing it all. So let's take a look at the greatest Batman story ever told, 1988's The Killing Joke. But before we begin, we would appreciate it if you like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really helps out the channel each and every week. One of the great attributes of The Killing Joke is that nothing is wasted. The dialogue is tight and purposeful, the artwork is symbolic of the story being told, and that is how our first group of panels begin. The rain, fracturing the normally reflective surface of the water, distorted and murky, much like the Joker's own mind. We are outside of Arkham Asylum, and the solid illumination of the Batmobile's headlights cuts through the same rain, pulling up to the front gates where Commissioner Gordon awaits in silence, another patrolman with him, and as the Batman emerges, he stalks by them both. Already, there is a tension in the air, a sense of something dark and engulfing. Gordon hurries after the Bat as he walks purposefully through the front lobby, down the hall, past the cell of former District Attorney Harvey Dent, to a cell guarded by a very respectful officer, a cell door with a nameplate with no known name assigned, and the number 0801. The guard opens the door. The Batman enters the cell. A single light casts a cone of yellow down onto a table where a familiar set of hands plays a game of solitaire. The Batman grabs a spare chair, and the setup of our joke is delivered. There were these two guys in a lunatic asylum. The Batman is there to talk about how sooner or later one of them will kill each other, that it seems inevitable, but he wants to try to avert that, or at least say that he made an attempt to avert that of the most likely of outcomes. But the Joker seems unaffected. He just continues to snap cards down into neat little piles, and this frustrates the Bat, and he grabs the Joker, tries to get his attention, and as he pulls back, he sees that white makeup has rubbed off of the Joker's arm and onto his glove. Again, the Bat lunges forward, grabbing the Joker, and despite the Joker begging not to be touched, the Batman wipes away a streak of makeup from the imposter's face. The only question that can be asked now, where is he? The Commissioner, unaware of what is really going on, rushes in to stop the Bat from harming the prisoner, to which the Batman offers Gordon a green wig. Now everyone is in on the joke. And again, the only real question to be asked, where is he? We get our answer. The Joker is with the owner of a defunct and dilapidated circus ground, and although no one in their right mind would purchase the property, the Joker is not in his right mind. As he states, he's crazy for it. Either way, money is not a problem these days. With that, we enter a different story. A flashback. A pregnant woman, sitting in a cheap and shabby apartment, asks a young man how it went. The young man reveals that it did not go well. We learn that he's a stand-up comedian who's not very funny and struggling to find work. He lashes out at his pregnant wife, his frustration and fear about caring for their soon-to-come child bubbling over, until he collapses in sorrow. Sorrow for taking it out on his wife, who soothes him, tells him not to worry about it, that she loves him, and things will be okay. And besides, he's good in the sack and knows how to make her laugh. With that, she reaches out to him, his reflection in the medicine cabinet behind her, and we dissolve back to present day, the Joker reaching out to a clown in a glass case, his reflection similar to that of the failed comedian. The owner continues to talk up the property as the Joker approaches him. They agree to shake on the deal. Unfortunately, the man does not realize who he's dealing with, and he does not see the poison needle in the Joker's palm. He's infected with Joker venom and dies with a sickly grin, stretching his face as the Joker explains that his associates have already been persuaded to sign over the property and that he won't be paying anything. Now he just needs to get his main attraction. Meanwhile, at the Batcave, Bruce pulls up all the information he has on his arch-nemesis. He understands that he cannot predict the Joker's motivations or his intentions. He never has been able to. More so, he knows nothing of the man himself. He does not understand him. How can two men who hate each other so much not know anything about each other? And in that moment, not even Alfred can offer a piece of sage advice. At the same time, Commissioner Gordon is with his daughter Barbara at their apartment. Gordon is clipping another Batman article from the newspaper for his scrapbook. He turns to the first article he ever clipped, that of the first encounter between the Dark Knight and the Clown Prince of Crime. Barbara recalls how she had nightmares as a child when she first saw the Joker's white face and green hair. Then there's a knock at the door. Barbara goes to answer it. She opens it up. Standing in front of her, dressed in a Hawaiian shirt, a Cuban hat, a camera dangling around his neck, and a revolver in his hand, is the Joker, flanked by his henchmen. The barrel of the gun is raised and pointed at Barbara, her face frozen in disbelief and terror. The Joker fires. The bullet rips through her abdomen, the force knocking her back and down through a glass coffee table, her father witnessing the entire act. The commissioner rushes over to his fallen daughter. The Joker dryly cracks inappropriate jokes while pouring himself a drink. The commissioner turns on the clown and rushes him with a pair of scissors. But the Joker's henchmen intercept and begin to beat the commissioner down, with instructions to not be too harmful. He is, after all, the main attraction. The Joker then turns his attention to Barbara, lying on the floor, bleeding out, in pain, in tears. He begins to undress her. She faintly asks why. The Joker responds, to make a point. We are then transported back to our failed comedian. He's sitting in a dive bar, drinking and eating crawfish, a common southern dish. Gotham is a northern city. Is this a mistake on the part of the narrator or a deliberate misdirection by the author? Just something to think about. The men our comedian is talking to are obvious crooks and they are recruiting for a job. Our failed comedian once worked in a chemical lab, was very good at his job, but quit to pursue his dream of stardom and fame. Now he will guide these criminals through that same chemical plant safely to the playing card company next door, and no one will recognize him because he will be wearing a red hood in the shape of a plastic dome. Our comedian asks if that is the same red hood the famous criminal wears. The crooks explain to him that it's just a tool for anonymity, that many people have worn the red hood, and that's the beauty of it. They pressure our comedian into agreeing to the job, which he reluctantly does. We come back to present day. We see Detective Harvey Bullock, the Batman, a doctor, and an unconscious Barbara Gordon in her hospital room. They explain to the Bat that Barbara is going to be paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of her life. Harvey further explains that they found Barbara naked, along with a camera lens cap that did not fit any camera in the apartment, leading them to believe that the Joker photographed her, and finally, the commissioner was nowhere to be found. The Batman crumples a Joker card in his hand. He knows that his arch-nemesis has decided to move to a whole new level of sickness with this latest crime, and that this is far from over. The Batman then requests to be left alone with his longtime ally. He gently rubs Barbara's cheek, calls her name, and tells her that it's Bruce, one of the rare moments in his history when the Bat addresses himself by his alter ego. Barbara awakens. She's panicked. She remembers the look in the Joker's eyes. She is terrified for her father. She knows that the Joker is going to push it to the limit this time around, and she begs him to know what is happening to her father as she grasps the Batman's cape, revealing the symbol on his chest. We don't have to wait long to get our answers about the commissioner. He is woken up by the Joker's circus minions. Obviously, they themselves are drugged with a Joker venom variant, making them his servants. They strip the commissioner naked, use a cattle prod to force him to move, and attach a dog collar to his neck. All the while, Jim Gordon pleads with them to stop and to tell them what is going on. They lead the naked commissioner out of his cage and into the open air of the circus fairgrounds. He passes by more circus freaks and wonders if he's dreaming. He wonders what he's doing there. The minions force him to his hands and knees while a voice answers his question. What is he doing there? He's going mad. Jim Gordon looks up to see the Joker sitting on a fiery throne of baby dolls. When Gordon sees the Joker's face, he begins to remember what happened, to which the Joker reminds him how dangerous and treacherous remembering the past can be, how worrying and anxious it can make one feel. At once it is filled with a carnival of delights, next it sends you somewhere you do not want to go, somewhere dark somewhere cold. The commissioner is dragged off towards the Ghost Train roller coaster ride as the Joker continues to school him in the nature of memory. How, when memories have you locked into unpleasantness, madness is always an emergency exit from reason and rationality. How you can step outside of the past and lock it away forever. The commissioner is placed on the Ghost Train and held down as the doors open and the ride begins. We are again transported to the past. Our comedian is finalizing the details of that night's break-in. He needs to wear a bow tie and a suit to maintain the Red Hood mystique. He mentions his wife by name, Jeannie, who he had to lie to about what he's doing that night. Just then, 2 members of the police enter the bar looking for him. They ask to speak with him outside. They have terrible news. Jeannie was testing a bottle warmer, and there was an electrical accident. She and the baby are dead. Our comedian re-enters the bar. He tells his criminal cohorts what happened, but for them, there's no backing out of tonight's activities. Anyone who backs out will not remain healthy. Our comedian has no choice but to go through with it. We leave him sitting alone, head held low, a picture of he and his wife on the table, and the patrons around him laughing. Again, is this a true memory? Were strangers really laughing at him? Or was it just a manifestation of the grief and the joke that life was playing on him? We return to the commissioner just beginning his Ghost Train ride. The Joker appears on multiple monitors surrounding the tracks. He tells the commissioner not to hide his head, and then the Joker begins to sing. He sings about the freedom that going insane brings, how you cease to care about the horrors of life, how life is swell in a padded cell, how you can trade your gloom for a rubber room and injections twice a day. Then the Joker begins his grand experiment to turn the police commissioner of Gotham City mad. The monitors begin to show the pictures of Barbara Gordon that the Joker took hours before. Her naked, crippled body is on full display for her father to see, and the commissioner cries out his daughter's name. And the Joker's final suggestion? Don't get even, get mad. And as the ride continues to progress, as the commissioner is continuously bombarded visually horrific images of his beloved daughter, the Batman works the streets, desperately trying to find a lead to the Joker's whereabouts. He leans on street-level scum. He questions mob bosses and even the Penguin in prison. He is leaving no stone unturned. Finally, the bat signal appears and he's called to the rooftops of the GCPD. The Batman drops in on Harvey Bullock, who has a letter addressed to our vigilante. Inside is a ticket for admission to the Bonus Brothers Carnival and Amusement Park with compliments from the Joker. The Batman glides away towards a conflict with his old foe. For the commissioner, the ride has finally come to an end. The commissioner is speechless. He's in shock and immense grief, and it seems as if the Joker has broken his humanity. However, he does not speak, and although the Joker continues to make jokes, he is disappointed that the commissioner is not acting maniacal. He tells his minions to put him back in his cage so he can stew upon what he's seen. Maybe then he will fully crack. The Joker remarks that the commissioner can reflect upon life and all its random injustice. He says this as he stares into the fractured puddle at his feet. We rejoin our failed comedian outside of Ace Chemicals. Wearing a suit and bow tie, his criminal partners place the Red Hood upon his head and they begin to enter the facility. The comedian describes the moment like a dream and that he cannot keep from thinking about his wife, Jeannie. The 3 make their way through the plant. It is filled with pipes and chemical vats. The Monarch playing card company is just on the other side. They're under the impression that there is no security around, until a guard opens fire. The gunshots echo loudly inside the Red Hood. Everything becomes disorienting for our comedian. They begin to run. The guard calls for backup and declares that the Red Hood mob is there. A hail of bullets hit our 2 criminals. They go down. The new Red Hood flees up a catwalk above the chemical vats, and before the guards can shoot him, a voice from behind orders them to stop. The Batman is there and he wants to take down the Red Hood himself. Scared and off balance, the Red Hood tells the Batman that he will jump if he comes any closer. But the Batman is undeterred. Although we do not see if he jumped or fell, the Red Hood plunges into the chemicals. The pipes wash his body out into the canal. The Batman searches from the top of the plant but does not detect any movement. Our comedian struggles to get to solid ground. He pulls the hood from his head. The chemicals are stinging, burning his skin. It is unbearable. And as he removes the hood, he stares into a reflective puddle of raindrops. His skin is now bleached white. His hair is deep green and his lips blood red. The comedian we once knew is gone, and his place is a monster fueled by madness. The Joker has been born. We return to present day. The Joker is mocking Commissioner Gordon as he sits in his cage. He opines to his followers about the average man, nature's most rare and tragic mistake, hindered by deformed values, withered optimism, its frail and useless notions of order and sanity. The Joker labels it all repulsive. And as the Joker continues to speak, in the distance, emerging from the darkness, through all the talk of lunacy and insanity, the solid, circular headlights of the Batmobile interrupt the festivities. The Dark Knight has arrived. The Batman rises out of the Batmobile. The Joker stands firm, staring down his enemy, a look of satisfaction and almost glee stretched across his face. It is time to deliver the punchline. We are reminded of the words that the Batman first spoke in Arkham Asylum. "Hello, I came to talk." But the time to talk has ended. The Joker must be stopped. After a momentary stare down, the Dark Knight leaps on top of the clown, forcing him into the mud and onto his back. But the Joker maintains his grip on his cane and in his right hand a bottle of acid that he squirts onto the Batman's left bicep. This gives the madman a moment to run into the funhouse as Batman treats his wound and frees Commissioner Gordon. He asks his friend if he's still okay. The Commissioner collapses into the Batman's arms crying, but after a few deep breaths, he returns to his reasonable self. He tells the Batman what happened, about the shooting and the photographs. He tells him to go after the Joker, to bring him in, by the book. They have to show the Joker that their way works. For the Batman, he can only say he'll do his best. And with that, he enters the funhouse. Here, we, as fans, get some of the best dialogue ever written for the Joker, and we get a deeper understanding of the psychotic that he truly is. As the Batman pursues his foe and avoids pitfalls and booby traps along the way, the Joker tells him that no matter what, he has made his point. Gordon has been driven mad, that everyone is just like himself. All it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to absolute lunacy. Then he tells the Batman how they are alike, that the Batman also had a bad day once when everything fell apart. Why else would he do what he does? The Joker continues to taunt the Batman. He admits that he too once had a bad day, and then he went crazy. He says he doesn't remember exactly what it was. Sometimes he remembers it one way, sometimes another, and that if he's going to have a past, he prefers it to be multiple choice. And with that, everything we learned about our failed comedian can now be called into question. Were we just seeing the hallucinations of a lunatic, or were we seeing pieces of the truth mixed with fantasy? And here is where we see a different side to the Joker, a desperate side, one in need of acceptance, especially from the Batman. From him, most of all, that the Batman has to understand that the world is a black, awful joke. Everything anybody ever valued or struggled for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag. Why can't the Batman see the funny side? Why is he not laughing? For a moment, we feel for the Joker. He is truly alone, and he seems in need of some comfort. Comfort he never got after whatever bad day he had happened to him. We see the Joker for the first time without a smile. The answers to all of the Joker's questions come in the form of the Batman crashing through one of the funhouse mirrors. He tells the clown that he's heard it all before, and it wasn't funny the first time. He grabs the Joker and throws him through another mirror. As the Batman stalks the fallen Joker, he lets him know that the Commissioner is all right, that he was not driven mad, that maybe the Joker is wrong about people, and that it was just his own weakness that turned him insane. This seems to enrage the clown. He pokes both of the Batman's eyes and pulls his cowl down across his nose, temporarily blinding the Bat. The Joker then picks up a 2x4 and swings it, breaking it in half against the Dark Knight's skull. This is his chance. The Batman is down. The Joker pulls a knife and lunges forward, intent on stabbing our hero. But the Batman is too well trained, and the Joker is no match for him physically. The Batman grabs the Joker's wrist, effectively blocking any knife attack, and delivers a deep, breathtaking blow to the Joker's stomach. A final right hand and the Joker is thrown through the door into the outside rain. At first he's lying prone, and as the Bat approaches, he turns over to reveal he has a gun, and it is pointing directly at the Bat. The Joker pulls the trigger, but this is the punchline part of our story, and instead of a bullet, a flag that says click is all that emerges from the barrel. The Joker slouches in defeat. Then he asks the Batman, "What are you waiting for? Why don't you kick the hell out of me?" The Batman answers, "Because I don't want to." The Batman then pleads with the Joker to let him help him. He offers the Joker a chance to rehabilitate, a chance to no longer be alone, to no longer be locked together on a course of mutually assured destruction. And although the Joker takes a moment to think about what is being offered, he apologizes and rejects the help. He tells the Batman that it's too late for him. Then he tells the Bat that this all reminds him of another joke. The Joker tells the story of two men escaping an asylum. The first man is able to jump across a gap in the walls to safety. The second man hesitates. He's scared. He's afraid to fall. The first man offers to shine his flashlight across the gap so the second man can walk across it. The second man replies, "What do you think I am? Crazy? You'll turn it off when I'm halfway across." And for the first time in their history, the Joker gets the Batman to laugh at a joke. The two continue to laugh and share a rare, genuine moment of connection as police sirens approach, their headlights breaking the puddles of rainwater. And as they approach the duo, we recede back until, like the beginning of our story, only raindrops are left. And we are left with a lot to interpret, especially with that final joke. Both men are insane, and some could argue that both the Batman and the Joker are insane. One has nothing but good intentions, but still, his methods are dangerous and his outcomes are not predictable. The second man, like the Joker, is cynical and untrusting of the world, which is ultimately his greatest weakness, but also his greatest defensive mechanism, allowing him to function. Neither is correct, neither is healthy, but neither is to blame for the other's faults. They are complementary, even if they are dysfunctional as a team. And some theories out there believe that the Batman does actually kill the Joker at the end of the story. They point to the final panels as giving a clue as to why they believe this. But over time, this theory has been debunked. That's the thing about these two characters. They will forever be locked in a cyclical conflict, one feeding off of the other until the end comes for them both. Thus ends the legendary graphic novel and comic book, The Killing Joke. I hope you enjoyed this look back at the greatest villain in pop culture history in his greatest story ever published. Next week we'll dive into another classic story and recap another classic comic, and I hope you'll join us for that. However, if you need more comic book fun right away, click on the thumbnail at the end of this video for our recap of one of the Batman's most underrated villains, the Calendar Man, and everybody's favorite DC zombie, Solomon Grundy. I thank you for watching. Until next time, from somewhere south of the border, I'm still your reluctant gringo. Salud and a huevo.